Welcome back to Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas, live on AM970, The Answer.
Matthew Kenslaw has grown up with a form of autism that was once referred to as Asperger's syndrome. Life has been an adventure as he pieced together all of his surroundings amid praises and taunts. His mission is to teach others from a first-hand perspective about how people with autism interpret things differently from the rest of the world. He's the author of 2 books, Juggling the Issues, and his most recent one is called Unstoppable. Now, Matthew's appeared on television, radio, and podcasts worldwide, and with over 1 million people following his journey on social media, he encourages everyone to embrace their unique gifts and pursue their dreams, regardless of any hurdles they may face. Welcome to the show, Matthew. Thanks for coming on.
It's a pleasure to be on. Thank you for having me.
So, Matthew, what are some of the challenges you face as a person with autism? Can you share your first-hand experiences with our listeners?
Yeah, some of the challenges that I have include it's hard to concentrate, so that's why reading or test-taking or trying to fall asleep at night has took me longer to accomplish than most of my friends. Like when I was in school, I was usually the last person to finish a test, and that's because it's hard for my mind to stop talking or to shut off when it's supposed to. And I also had a speech delay. I was diagnosed with that at age 3, and so I had to take speech therapy from preschool to 12th grade. And then there's the social aspect. So I have made hundreds of friends by the time I graduated high school, but it was always hard for me to put my foot forward and ask them if I could spend time with them. I usually waited for them to come to me, and at the same time I've had my share of being teased for having autism.
Wow. So what was your childhood like? Obviously, it sounds like there were some challenges, and you mentioned friends. So was it difficult to make friends, or how did you circumvent that? How did you deal with that?
It was kind of like, the answer's like yes or no. It was, I kind of in school found friends that came to me and started to talk to me, and then that made it easier versus me going up to them myself. Or if it's something like playing handball or softball, anyone could join, so I just got to the back of the line and waited my turn. But, once I'm in, like, a conversation or spending time with friends, it's easier.
Did you find that kids were cruel, or were they accepting? What was your experience about that?
Yeah, as a student, I find that the vast majority of my classmates were kind and accepting, but there were other students that weren't. There's people that name-called me in school. At one point, a person threw a handball at my face to get me to go away, and just other stuff like that. But by the time I got to middle school and high school, the amount of teasing went down and the amount of friendships continued to go up.
So someone actually assaulted you? Did I hear that right?
Well, just threw a handball at my face.
Yeah, that's assault and battery to me. Alex or Mert?
I was trying to speak. I don't know if you could hear me, but I wanted to ask, do you have any superpowers from being autistic? Like, is there anything that you can do remarkably more or well that other people just can't? Because sometimes you hear about people with autism, they can remember a whole scenery and recreate it in a drawing. Do you have any of those type of abilities?
Well, not like a photographic memory, but something that I enjoyed was memorizing the presidents, like in middle school. So a lot of my classmates from middle school and high school would give me a number between 1 and whatever the current number president was, and I could tell you their birth date, their death date, and their term dates.
All right, the fifth president of the United States, who was that?
James Monroe, and he died July 4th, 1831, and was born April 28th, 1758.
I'll take your word for it. Alex, you can verify that. He's a history guy, but I have to take your word for that. But yeah, see, that's remarkable right there. And, you know, I got friends who are autistic, and they always have a trait that really stands out. And you usually can use those traits to make friends with other people. Have you ever done that? Like, use your ability to remember this stuff, and people are like, wow, he's really smart, and now you have a friend.
Yeah, precisely. I think that's how I met a lot of people when I was in middle school and high school.
Lucas, take over.
Yes. I'm still trying to get over the dates and the president stuff. I can't remember when I was born, Matthew, so well done, well done. Now, why did you decide to write your first book, Juggling the Issues? First of all, what is Juggling the Issues about?
It's an anthology or a collection of short stories about living with autism, the pros and the cons, where each chapter is either a pro or a con or an organization that kind of gave me a chance in life and a catharsis. So, like, I like juggling or playing piano, so I just explain that, and I decided to write it because I always loved writing since I was probably first grade, give or take, and I knew that I was destined to write one day, so I started the project and got it published, and I wanted to communicate my first-hand perspective to as many people as possible.
Let me ask you a stupid question, and I speak out of ignorance, Matthew, but when I was doing some research for the show, I did check out your website. You have a great website, which we will give the name out to. What is the name of your website? I don't have it in front of me. What is the website name, Matthew? MatthewKenslow.com. Is that it?
Yeah, Matthew, fourth wall.
And I was checking out, there were some videos of you juggling and performing. Does that take you to a safe place when you're performing? In other words, what is going on when you're juggling? Does it take your mind off now and allows you to avoid any unpleasant thoughts or overwhelming thoughts? Help us out here.
Yes, I have many videos up on like YouTube and Instagram and elsewhere, just juggling or playing piano, and they've always been my catharsis since elementary school. I picked up juggling in 5th grade and piano in 4th grade, and they are kind of like a way of release for me, like when I'm doing juggling or playing piano by myself, like growing up in school and my college years. And then it also gives me a sense of like acceptance and purpose when I'm actually playing piano or juggling in front of other people.
So what made you want to help others such as yourself? What gave you that? Because most people want to figure out how to get people just to like them, but you seem to figure that out, and now you're like, let me try to help other people who might experience what I experienced. What got you to that point?
When I was in high school, I was invited to speak at a couple of events, and I really enjoyed it, and a lot of people thanked me for what I do, what I said, and it just made me feel good. So I'm like, that's I think the point of my life is just wanting to help other people.
Do you still need help with anything, or do you feel like you got things pretty much figured out?
I feel I got like most things like figured out and managed. So
you would say, but you're not going to say you're perfect, though. What are you
Correct.
still working on?
I'm not perfect.
What are you? So what are you still?
Mert.
No, I just want to know. No. I just want to know.
You're not perfect. Are you perfect, Mert?
No. I got a reason for asking. I'm trying to figure out what is he still working on, because everybody is still working on something. I just want to hear what is it that he's still working on, because there is something. What are you still dealing with on a day-to-day basis that you're like, this is what I'm constantly fighting with?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I mean, of course, I'm not perfect, and I do try to get better each day at, I guess, several things. I guess also including like communications, like how to express and also learning how to explain things concisely. So I'm like not talking like I'm not taking over a conversation.
Right. So even like when we're talking now, you have to talk to yourself and tell yourself, get to the point. Is that like what you're talking about? That's one of the things you have to try to constantly deal with, because I struggle with that sometimes. Sometimes I talk too much and I don't know when to shut up. So
yes, that, I know, and our listeners can certainly attest to that. What do you think, Matthew?
Yes, I try my best and have been working on that the past few years. And going on like radio or doing like television or podcast, it really helped me. And also going on YouTube really helped me keep things concise.
You are doing outstanding, Matthew. So don't doubt yourself and don't listen to MERT. MERT has a lot of self-improvement to do, but it may take him decades. Now, let me ask you something. We only have a few minutes. We only have about 2 minutes before our break, and then you're coming back on. Social media. Talk about cruelty. What made you decide to go to social media where you could be subjected to attacks and taunts even more? What kind of reception did you receive?
I got a mix, but for the most part, in the past 7 years of social media, I've probably got 95% positive, but I have gotten like under 10% of negative feedback. What got me to go on social media was back in 2017 when I started posting publicly on YouTube, and that part of my life was kind of a very sad part of my life, and I just didn't like I was contributing a lot when I felt I was capable to. So I just thought maybe I'll post on social media and get my voice heard that way, and then it started to build from there.
I'm glad. I'm certainly glad you did, and I want people to check you out, Matthew Kenslau. He's on social media, has a significant Instagram presence. I think you're doing great. I know that Gabby and Alex wanted to say hello. Guys, say hello to Matthew.
Hey, Matthew, so glad that you're on with us tonight. Gabby and I both have had speech lessons over the years, but I want to ask you this. From that, where you had the delayed speech, to now when you're doing public speaking, talk about that journey of that, transformation, if you will, from the speech delay to now. You're all over the place talking to folks.
Yeah, when I was like 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, it was hard to understand what I was saying. And so speech therapy really helped. There were some sounds that I was mixing up, like S sounds with TH sounds and such. So I just, and also hearing myself like on home videos, I'm like, okay, I want to improve. So I continue to improve. And by middle school and high school and college years, I'm probably not perfect, but here I am today.
Absolutely. And by the way, I noticed that you're trying to make the classrooms across where you live and all that more accessible. Talk about that journey, because here in New York, they're very big on accommodation. Some schools don't meet it. Some schools do. Are you working with offices to make sure all these classrooms are, accommodating and more accessible?
Yeah, I do volunteer assemblies across Orange County, California, and I've spoken to over 10,000 students and 500,000 more to go. I mean, it's my goal to get to every school, and I just tell the teachers, I tell all the students about autism awareness and bring in my examples, my story, and then my encouragements, and then at the end, I say, here are some tips on helping other people feel included.
And what are some of those tips? Give our listeners a little insight.
Yeah, well, first I ask them to think about themselves as a team, and team is TEAM, together everyone achieves more, and that we're stronger together. And so if they see someone, and also that team members are made up of a diversity of backgrounds. So if you see someone sitting alone, if you see someone being lonely, if you see someone that that has a disability, then go up to them and be a friend to them. Introduce them to your friends. Find out what they like and find out what they don't like, and help them feel included.
I love that. And, I think we all can say that inclusiveness over the years can always use a little more improvement. It sounds like you were included and a lot of the time, but there were some challenges. How did you overcome those challenges, of the exclusion that you might have felt?
Yeah, at first, especially my elementary school years, I just didn't really understand exactly what was going on. And in kindergarten, that's when I was first told, like, go away, Matthew, you're not your friend, you're not playing with us. And when I got older, my neighbors would vote me out of their presence, and I just didn't really understand why. But it took several years to, get over that and manage and try to step out of the comfort zone, if you will.
Well, you may not know this, but Gabby and I are both physically disabled, and we try and make sure everything's accessible in our city of New York. Do you find it a challenge to get to leadership to say, hey, make these classrooms more accessible? Is there a challenge there?
Not too much of a challenge, but at the same time, there's still a lot of schools that just haven't really been reaching out to me yet.
And how can they reach out, just out of curiosity? Is it the website?
Yeah, that or just my email. I give them my email. I sometimes rely on word of mouth. I put out my cards. I happen to be friends with a lot of people in my local school board, and so they're spreading my name around.
Now, Lucas and Mert, do you know that the Dean of the School of Education in Vanguard University praised the book? Tell us about the Dean of School of Education that, really praised the book, Matthew.
Yeah, Dr. Jeff Hittenberger, and I'm really indebted to him a lot. I mean, he has a lot of passion and knowledge, and I'm very thankful for him. And so I gave him a copy of my book, and he read it, and he liked it, and so he told me that he liked it. So I'm very thankful for that.
You probably grew up. Did you have a lot of challenges that you wanted kids after you to address? To not have to deal with that you dealt with.
I guess a lot of the challenges that I dealt with was more like social and learning. As far as the learning goes, the academics goes, it was hard for me to read because it was hard for my mind to stop talking, and likewise, it was hard to finish a test on time or finish homework in a timely manner.
Right. Let me ask Matthew a question real quick. Matthew, did you get sad when you weren't able to relate to people? Did you experience that, or did you just say, wait a minute, something's not right here, let me solve it? What was your emotional response to realizing you were different than other people?
Yeah, at first I'd say I was sad at first.
But then it changed into, all right, let me overcome this problem. Do you understand why I'm asking that?
Yeah, so it started with that. Yeah, it started with that, and then that's when I decided to see what I could do, and also I had to reflect on who my friends are, and they were respectful and friendly to me.
Hey, Matthew, let me ask you another stupid question. Do you find people are more accepting these days? Do you find them more accepting of disability? Or do you find that there's still some walls and still some resistance? What's your view on that?
In my observation, I've seen a lot more acceptance, but there's still ways to go for ideal universal acceptance.
Well, at least it's somewhat positive, though, right, Matthew?
Yeah, for the most part, I see a lot of positivity.
Where can it use improvement? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but so that people become aware. What could use improvement, in your opinion?
I guess just spreading more awareness. I'm doing whatever I can to get out there, in the media, social and news media, and in person doing these assemblies. And of course, I champion everyone else that are spreading awareness with their own platforms, and I encourage them to continue to do that. And I believe with more awareness, there will be more acceptance and therefore inclusion.
Amen. Amen. So let's spread the word. Now, what do you hope readers will take away from your second book, Unstoppable? Because we've been talking about your two books, but your most recent one is called Unstoppable, which is available from all the major booksellers. Is it available on Amazon also, Matthew?
Yeah.
So on Amazon, take a look. Unstoppable, Matthew Kinsler. What do you hope readers take away from it?
Unstoppable really chronicles my journey as an autistic through the student teaching program and subbing and overcoming despite a lot of challenges. So I'm hoping that it would encourage a lot of people, especially those who may have a disability, to reach their dreams. And one of my dreams is wanting to be a teacher. I went through the credential program successfully. So my primary hope is encouragement and motivation.
We just have a few minutes left, Matthew. Your segment has just flown by. Thank you so much. What's one thing you wish more people understood about autism?
Well, first, having autism doesn't really mean that we're different than anyone else. We could still do what we set our heart and mind to, as long as it's practical, of course. And my encouragement to people that have autism or any disability is don't allow the label to stop them. Don't allow the label to make you quit in life. I believe that sometimes we need to learn to go through things instead of around things.
Well, I was just about to ask you, what are your tips or advice for people, particularly those who feel like their disability is holding them back? In the final minutes, what are your parting words to those who feel challenged by a disability?
Well, I love giving my be number one encouragement. And in my definition, being number one means that you know what you want to do in life, and you know who you want to be and what you want to do. And yet, even in the face of adversity, such as disability, choose to continue to pursue what you want to do, and at the same time, set standards based on your own self and not other people. So don't try to be other people, but just be yourself at the same time. And I believe that once that happens, that people that they shall succeed. And I also believe that behind the disability, we have a heart and a mind.
Amen. Unfortunately, Matthew, we've run out of time. It was a true pleasure having you on the show. Thanks for coming on. My friends, please make a point of checking out Matthew's book, Unstoppable. You'll find it wherever books are sold. We'll also have links to Matthew's webpage and his book on our website, shakeitofflive.com. Well, my friends, that concludes show number 29.